Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode number 61.
For some reason, sometimes this makes me look like my body's massive, my head is little. Look, it looks like
he does look like the little guy
Beetlejuice
from Beetlejuice. Ah! We need to do our jingle. We watch movies, so you don't have to. Okay, on 3, 2, 1. We watch movies, so you don't have to. It's Dark Side of the Stream. This week's pick was Jay's. The documentary was Monsters Inside the 24 Faces of Billy Milligan.
Multiple personalities.
Dude,
right?
This was, Jay Stevens likes his documentaries like he likes his women. Insano.
This one was nuts, man.
Ugh.
This one had multiple layers of madness going on.
Every time you hear about multiple personality disorders, I always kind of have like this level of skepticism. You know what I mean? When you see people talk about it or it happens, that I know it's a real deal and I know it happens. I know it, I've seen Split. I've seen documentaries like this before. Unsolved Mysteries had tons of episodes about it. But I always have like this level of like, is this real? Is this dude real? I did not have that level of skepticism with this guy. Did you?
No, no. It seemed very, very real.
It seemed extremely legitimate.
But then at the end, it kind of makes you question it a little bit.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think he just, at the end, it's hindsight, because at that point in his life, he was medicated and taken care of the way he needed to be. True. And everything kind of lessened out, evened out. That's how mental illness works. I mean,
spoiler alert on this one, is because there's gonna be a lot of spoilers. I feel this documentary goes crazy, and then wow, that was wild. And then no, come on, really, what? And it gets even more crazier. But I think the craziest thing of all is that basically this dude killed some people, or one of his personalities killed some people, and the dude got out of jail. That's the craziest part of it all. And like really good legal defense. Wow. And it was a public defender, which we'll get into all this. It's Dark Side of the Stream, discussing Monsters Inside the 24 Faces of Billy Milligan on 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, and we are discussing Monsters Inside the 24 Faces Billy Milligan. Now, at first they thought it was only a few personalities.
At first, I think it was like 10, right at the beginning.
A small girl,
a
crazy like Yugoslavian Russian gangster guy, a real tough guy, a fragile guy. Man, and he would just change in mid conversation in these different people. Like
the communist dude, I liked, because he kind of like the robberies angle from that, and then he had the escape artist guy, and then there was like this English scientist dude. It was
what a trip, man!
All over the place.
Now, if it was faked, that would be you'd have to be so intelligent maybe to be able to pull off the fake of this.
I mean, acting is acting, but at the same time, if he sold it. He sold it big time. Eventually, he would be convicted of what was called the campus rapes, or the campus rapist is what they ended up calling him. In the 70s, committed some rapes at a school, and inevitably blamed it on the female personality, which was the one causing him to do this. But it happened at Ohio State in, I believe, 77. He had a gun, they were used, and then he was already on parole for committing this earlier in the 70s. So they threw him right back into prison. Well, this time they got him an examination, and the doctor said that he was schizophrenic. And then they got another psychologist involved at a community health center in Columbus who said that he had multiple personality disorders. So most of the time, when you hear about guys getting public defenders, you're like, "Oh, this dude's screwed. You're screwed."
You're not going to get
and then he was a repeat offender. The thing is,
that's what I'm thinking. The dude's locked up for good. Okay, you're going to be locked up for good.
he's going. I mean, he's already been convicted of rape and robbery.
How does that not get you locked up for good? I don't kind of get that part.
Well, the public defenders actually did their job and looked into this and basically pleaded insanity defense on this and said that because of his multiple personality disorder, this is what happened. And so the state and everyone kind of agreed. Now, it wasn't like he was set free. It wasn't like he was acquitted. Basically, they used this defense, and I believe this was the first time that they actually were able to successfully use this defense, at least in modern history, I think. It was kind of the vibe I got. There was a big deal about this one. Right. Anyway. And they got him off, and then he was sent to a mental institution where we would meet not one, not two, but 14 more personalities. And we'll meet. And
then, but he ends up getting out of there as well.
Yeah, he does. He does get out of there. And we'll talk about that next. Dark Side of the Stream, 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave. Mike, the intern, Jay Stevens in the studio. Dark Side of the Stream discussing the
Many Faces.
Many Faces. Monsters Inside. It's a documentary on Netflix, a series, if you will.
That's the play, man. Commit a crime, go steal a bunch of money, and say you have multiple personalities.
It happens, but you got to back it up. And you've got to prove to a medical professional that it's legit.
Think you could dupe them?
That's the thing. It's not to say that it hasn't happened before, but man, if you're talking about when he went in, they were saying he had 10 personalities after being committed after the insanity plea. They found 14 more. They called them the undesirables, which I don't know. That's kind of creepy.
24 personalities
inside of your mind. Yeah. Now you touched on this earlier, but we can go back to it again. You were kind of crazy. You kind of thought it was messed up that he got released, that he was cool after all this went down.
Yeah. You there?
Yeah. So
who am I talking to right now, Mike?
So you thought it was? I'm asking you a question.
No, I thought it was crazy that the guy just gets out and like goes and lives his life, and then he still goes on and does some more crazy, wacky stuff.
Like what?
Like going to Florida where all the sheriffs and law people were, and he just went and hung out with them.
Honestly, to going back to what I said at the beginning,
he lived with those other guys, and then there was a weird murder disappearance and cashing some guy's checks.
Yeah, that was kind of
like. After you get off of all this, you think you'd run straight and narrow, but OJ, I guess you don't, you know?
But again, back to what you said about was he messing around or was this? I think that if they actually found out that this stuff was real and he was dealing with this, they got to medicate the medication he needed to squash it.
But you can't let the guy out.
That is the issue. But
you know
again, if you've got a guy who's a repeat offender who had these kind of violent crimes,
maybe stick him in prison, but
he needed to be monitored. He needed to be at the very least monitored for the rest of his life.
They let the dude run free. Dude disappeared for a while. Went and visited his buddy in Canada, or brother, or something like that, and then killed some people there allegedly. Like, dude.
But they lost contact with him.
Watch this movie, guys. It's a trip.
It really.
Levels
do you
of
think
trippy.
And I'm just asking you, just to get your opinion. Do you think that this was a fault of the Ohio law system? I mean, do you think Ohio screwed up big time by letting that guy go? And
Yeah, and usually I don't err on that side, but I just feel like in this case
they just let this dude run amok.
Yeah, if you've got all kinds of multiple personalities, you probably need some help, but I just don't think that they should just let the dude go after they're thinking he killed some people or raped some people. You know
what's crazy about this dude?
What?
He was in California in the 90s.
Yeah,
you could
he
have
was
actually
hanging with movie stars.
I was like, you could have actually
crossed paths. You never know. Yeah.
He owned this thing called Stormy Life Productions, and he actually
the dude was rolling with movie stars and stuff. Like after all this happened, this is crazy.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that after all this, they've been trying to make this into a movie, his life story. James Cameron, I guess, bought the rights in like the early 90s, and they've been trying to get this thing
were all
made.
Courting him.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey, Johnny Depp, Brad Pitt, John Cusack, all these dudes have tried to be him.
This movie is so crazy.
I think now they're going to make a story about this guy's life called The Crowded Room, and it's going to be Tom Holland who plays old Billy. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. We're talking Dark Side of the Stream. The documentary Monsters Inside. We'll give it our crazy pill rating next on 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave. Mike the intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. Dark Side of the Stream discussing Monsters Inside. So how many crazy pills would you give this?
Multiple personalities would I give it to? I'll give this one 4.5.
You're a 4.5. I think this is Jay Stevens' highest rated show.
Because it's just so unbelievable. Like, the story is so... if it was a movie, you would say it was fake because there's no way That's the best kind of documentaries.
This guy got off. He went out and tried to be a movie star. Still had multiple. So maybe at the end of the day, maybe it was phony. Maybe it was phony baloney. Maybe I got tricked too. I'll tell you right now, a lot of medical professionals did as well.
I don't know, man. But I mean, did he, at the end you're kind of questioning? Did he have multiple personalities or did he not? You're kind of But then they say they would see physical changes when these other characters.
That's the thing. That's the thing that struck me was that
crazy, dude.
If he was that good of an actor, he definitely missed his calling because that in itself is like I would like to think that you and I could like do impressions and do stuff just based on what we do, but like to take on that quick, you know,
it's
and
like,
just
like
flip
Split,
it.
you know, where he
it's
real
just
physical transformations. But Definitely worth a watch.
I'd say about 3.5 for me. 3.5.
Worth a watch. It's
worth the watch for sure. It didn't rewrite the book for me. It's definitely an interesting story to say the least. That is for sure. And then again, they're going to make a new show about it called The Crowded Room. And Tom Holland. I think it was.
Did one of the personalities tell you this?
Did one of the personalities? I'm trying to figure out what. It's going to be Apple TV, I think. So
damn you, Apple TV!
Yeah,
I don't have
screw
that.
you. Yeah, it's
I can
Apple
only
TV.
have so many streaming.
I know. I can't. Sorry, I can't do it. So you'll never have to worry about watching a documentary on Apple TV from Dark Side of the
Stream.
Stream,
a bootleg version,
which you can always stream online 1047thecave.com on our 104.7 The Cave app, or watch us on Facebook every Thursday 9 a.m. It is my turn next for Dark Side of the Stream, and we are going to watch The Donut King.
Oh, sweet.
Story about making donuts. We're going to make it light. We're going to get
lighthearted,
fat.
No murders, no rapes.
Talk about donuts.
No false identities.
And our favorite donuts. And your favorite donuts.
Nice glazed. Well, if I was to have a donut, it'd be.
Don't ruin it just yet. I don't want to talk about it now.
Nice round glazed.
We're going to have a whole hour to talk about your favorite donuts next week.
Long John.
Dark Side of the Stream. We eat Long Johns with Jay Stevens on 104.7 The Cave.